Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
Hello, I'm Phil Catchpole and welcome to episode 22 of Ringing the Blues. Coming up on this week's show, we hear about the Blues banishing their travel woes at Bolton. There is all the action and reaction to last week's rare defeat at Adams Park against Fleetwood. Plus, we find out about the incredible story of Josh Parker. But first, he's back from Brazil. He's better than Ozil. It's Uri with the results.
We are ringing the blues from Mexico City. Mi nombre es Uri, and here are the results for League One. Accrington Stanley 4, Lincoln City 3, Bolton Wanderers 0, Wycombe Wanderers 2, Bristol Rovers 2, Blackpool 1, Fleetwood Town 2, Peterborough United 1, Gillingham 2, Doncaster Rovers 1, Ipswich Town 4, Bolton Albion 1, Oxford United 0, Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 2, Shrewsbury Town 0, Rotherham United 2, AFC Wimbledon 2, Southend United 0, Coventry City 2, and Rochdale versus Tranmere Rovers. It was postponed. Now, as for Cherboy Spanish this week, well, hallelujah! We won a game away from home. That would be translated as we, nosotros, won, ganamos, a game, un juego, away, lejos, from home, de casa. It's very easy. Say it with me. We won a game away from home. Nosotros ganamos un juego lejos de casa. ¡Aleluya! Ganamos un juego fuera de casa. Back to London with my amigo Phil Catchpole. Adiós.
So, despite Storm Dennis, Wycombe Wanderers and the Chairboys faithful headed up to Bolton Wanderers to see if Wycombe could get their first win on the road since November. It'd been an incredibly long time since an away goal as well, and they would have taken one from any angle, and I think that's what happened. Commentary from Ollie Bayliss and Sam Avery.
We need to sort this away form out, and what a great time to do that. We keep winning one, losing one, and if that pattern continues, then we'll get a win up at Bolton. I'm looking forward to that, but we've got to work hard for that.
Tussling for the ball, Jason McCarthy wins that fight though for Wycombe Wanderers, plays it forward. This is a good run now in towards the penalty area. Shot comes in from Paul Smith, blocked by the goalkeeper, still alive on the right hand side. Cross comes in again, and I think it's an own goal. It is an own goal. Wycombe Wanderers have taken the lead here. Cross was delivered in, two Bolton defenders got in each other's way and put the ball into the open net. Bolton Wanderers 0, Wycombe Wanderers 1.
Musiala lets the ball bounce, and that's an invitation for Akim Fenwa to scamper onto the loose ball. Played forward by Wheeler. Onyedinma 1-on-1, takes it around the keeper and goes down, and it's a Wycombe Wanderers penalty. Joe Jacobson steps up, left-footed, rolls it into the corner, sending Matthews the wrong way. Mr. Reliable Joe Jacobson, his 8th league goal of the season. Bolton 0, Wycombe 2.
Gareth, a bit of a battle in Storm Dennis, but much needed 3 points.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, we've come up here and it's a tough game. There's a bit of pressure on this one because everyone's been beating Bolton. They're at the bottom of the league. They've had huge difficulties at the start of the season. They brought Keith in, who's a good friend and a fantastic manager, and he will sort this out given time. I'm just glad he needs a bit more time than he did, and we got him still at a time when this club's in turmoil. So great win for us, clean sheet, 3 points away from home. That's been on the cards for a while, and it backs up that great home form we've had lately. Back in the top 3, I think it is now, and it's brilliant just to see the Wycombe Wanderers amongst the big boys, and with 12 games to go, we're really excited to see what we could do this year.
a goal away from home for the first time in 6. Slightly fortunate in that it was an own goal, but a lovely delivery towards the far post.
Yeah, do you know, and Paul Smith, he's been brought into the team. He's a ball carrier. He makes things happen, as well as Fred Onyedinma on the other side. And I thought both of those were super lively today, and they're going to cause defenders all sorts of problems. Paul's dribbled his way into the box, fantastic effort on goal, and then a brilliant bit of composure by Jason McCarthy just to put it in the right area, and unfortunately the Bolton defenders put it in his own net. I think Fred will run off claiming it. Maybe he got the last touch, but it was welcome after they started so well. But I thought Bolton played a real interesting formation at the start, almost a 4-2-2-2, and it caught us off guard a little bit. So I had to change formation after about 18 minutes. I changed to counteract that, and I thought once I did that, there was only really one team in the game, and they're in a tough position. They are, you know, and I do feel sorry for the fans and for the club, but you know we're on a roll this season, and we're going to try and win as many games as we can, and as I say, it's a great away win for us.
How difficult was it to play in the conditions? Because it seemed like a lot of long balls, a lot of headers were being misjudged. It seemed like the wind kept changing every second.
I don't think it was too bad. I think there's been a lot worse, and we're probably lucky that we're in such a fabulous stadium that seems to shelter the wind. I'm sure there'll be Adams Park today might have been a little bit blustery, and I'm sure there's grounds around the country that have been the same, but it's a fantastic football club, a huge football club, and it's a privilege to be here. I'm just so pleased we got the win, and travelling fans were fantastic.
Yeah, word for them, 625 fans that made the 150 plus mile journey from Wycombe made plenty of noise away to your right. Yeah,
we've been to these huge clubs. We've been to your Sunderlands and your Ipswiches this season, and this is the first ever visit to the Reebok Stadium. Sorry, not Reebok. That's my Northwest roots there. I think it's the whatever it is now. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a fantastic stadium, a huge football club, and for me to be able to deliver that win, well, not me, the players have done it, but to the fans, it's just awesome. They come here for the first time ever. What a stadium, what history this place has got, you know, and to win is even more special. So I'm sure they'll be celebrating on the way home.
A word for Onyedinma and Smith, who certainly in commentary we thought were really effective this afternoon running with the ball.
The messages at half time were the sooner we can get the ball to their feet, the better. It's great that people tag us with this long ball system, because we do go up to Bale when it's on them, and set plays, of course we're going to use him, but if you actually watch and dissect the game, the midfield try and play a control pass and then get a release pass out to our wingers, who then carry the ball up the pitch and make all sorts of problems happen. But keep on thinking that we just use Akinfenwa because it's great, everyone gravitates to him, and it leaves plenty of gaps for everyone else. It's a great way that we played today, and I'm proud of every one of them.
Have you had a chance to look at the table yet? Back up to third, I think, and some results have gone your way around you.
Yeah, and you know there's going to be plenty of twists and turns yet. But I've said to my boys, after the Christmas period we had, and then getting back on track, because really we are back on track. You know, a win and a defeat, you take. If we win and lose every other game, alternately now to the end of the season, we'll end up in the playoffs, which would be an unbelievable achievement for this club. If you draw all those games, you only get 1 point. You don't get as many points, and it sort of papers over the cracks. So, you know, sometimes you take your losses to get your win the next time, and if we can get a run now together, we have some winnable games coming up. We've played a lot of the big teams twice already. I think we got Rotherham, Coventry, and we won over in the top 8, and the rest of them, all of the teams that will be very competitive against. So I'm positive that we can have a real flourish to the end of the season and see where it takes us. The remit has never been get to the Championship. The remit has never been get into the playoffs or even get into the top half. The remit was improve on last season, and today's the day we've done that as well, which is a momentous occasion. And I've just been informed that I think it's our highest points tally for 18 years at this stage of the season. Again, a real proud moment for me and the boys. Hopefully we can kick on from here.
So back to winning ways on the road for Wycombe Wanderers. An excellent 2-0 win sees them go third in the table. Here's what the Trotters fans had to say after the game. Latham Matt.
It were all looking pretty positive. And then we score an own goal with the defender's face. Only us.
Gary Jackson.
To be fair, waiting until your keeper goes for a walk before volleying the ball into your own face takes some doing.
Ronnie Phillips.
Taking our Keystone Cops cock-ups out of it, there was very little difference between us and a team that now sits third in the table. That's how poor this league is, and why it's so frustrating.
Burndon's Boggs.
Anyone else noticed the ref laughing and joking with the Wycombe players? He was certainly enjoying his bants with them for most of the game. At least he got the result he wanted. The sod.
Martin, BWFC.
This is without doubt the worst Bolton team in living memory. And I watched the Phil Neal team.
Nathan.
You know it's bad when Akin Fenwa is running round more than your first choice striker.
Jen Ward.
I've never known a team waste as much time as Wycombe. Even at 0-0 their keeper were doing it. Very strange.
Darren Butler.
We are so useless that any player time wasting against us should be given a straight red and have his contract cancelled.
Dave at BWFC.
Frustrating game. We played some really good football in the first half, but were caught out yet again by sloppy defending. Fair play to Wycombe. I hope they go up.
Leanne.
Phil Parkinson wasn't getting paid, was extremely stressed, and had players going on strike. But he still managed to motivate younger players to go out and give 100% every game. Keith Hill has managed to assemble a senior squad who don't look like they give a sh.
Josh Ryder.
Get Nathan Jones in.
Coming up later, we have all the action and reaction from the Chairboys getting reeled in by the COD Army at Adams Park. But now, this is an incredible story. How does a boy from Slough end up at European giants Red Star Belgrade? And just what could go wrong when he got there? Well, make yourself a cup of tea and get a comfy seat and discover the unbelievable story of Josh Parker's career to date.
Sometimes sit and think to myself, like, I'm from Slough, like, and Britwell of all places, like the rough part of Slough, and I've achieved or gone through all of these things, and I'm like, it's weird, like, it's almost like a blessing and a curse, like, because at the time the things I went through might not have been nice, but it's my journey, and you have to be accepting of it and take the lessons from it. But at the time you don't see it like that, like, because I was young and I was at Red Star on my own, it was difficult. But now I'm past it, you kind of look back, and I think that's a big mistake that we make as humans, people. We kind of dismiss how strong we can be and how strong we are, because when I was going through it I was like at breaking point, but now I'm looking back, I was like, oh, it weren't that bad because I'm here now and I'm happy. But yeah, I've been through a few things.
What happened at Red Star? I mean, a lot of our listeners won't be aware of this story.
So when I was at Oxford after having a long time out of football because I had an injury and I had a kid on the way, and I was 21 and I had like no money, no nothing, no income, and I managed to get myself fit, and then I went to Oxford for 3 months, and it came to the end of the season and Chris Wilder was the manager, and he was like, you're a really good player, but next year we want more experience, the typical politics of football. So I kind of had like a little bit of head loss, but not at him, just like to myself. And I was like, I told my agent about this, that he don't understand the political side of football. He just thinks, oh, you train well when you play. It doesn't work like that. That's how everyone thinks. So I said, I want to go abroad. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, I just want to get away from it and focus on football and see what I actually am capable of. So then he was like, where do you want to go? I was like, I have no idea, just find something. So he said, what about Slovenia? I was like, where is it? I don't know nothing about it. I thought it was near Russia. And he was like, well, they've said you can go out and train for 2 weeks. It's not a trial, they want you, but it's whether you like it or not. So I said, okay, why not? So I trained for 2 weeks, loved it, and then ended up signing there, did really well. And then I was there for about 18 months. I ended up having like 4 or 5 really good options. And I was like, this is crazy. 18 months ago, Oxford were telling me like, oh, we want an experienced squad and this and that, and I could have been out of football or I might have dropped down leagues. I took the risk to go abroad. It's kind of paying off. So I had Red Star, I had Grasshoppers or something like that, Sturm Graz, team in China before anyone started going to China. I chose Red Star because of the magnitude of the club, and they were the most keen on me. And I didn't really understand how big the club was because no one really speaks about them anymore. We decided to go Red Star, get like 5-star treatment. I remember just pulling up, landing, coming out the airport, and there was like 50 paparazzi, and I'm like, this is weird. And I'm uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable if all eyes are on me. So like they're taking pictures and there's like a big car outside, and I get in the car and they're still trying to take pictures. And so I end up signing there, and things were good. Like went on pre-season, did really well because they have a winter break there. So I signed on the second half of the season. Things were going really, really well. And I remember my nan passed away. I wanted to come home for the funeral. And I remember I found out about it on the way to training. So I'm in a taxi, going to the stadium. My mum calls me, tells me what's happened. So I didn't really have time to process it. And I started to process it while I was training. I was getting upset. And then the manager said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go home for the funeral and I want to be there for my mum because she's there on her own. So then the director comes and he's like, you can't go home. He's like, we've got a game on Saturday and then we've got the derby next week, which is Partisan, which is obviously a big game. So I was like, you can't tell me I can't go home. This is family. Like, football's second to this. He started using like examples like, do you think if Frank Lampard mum passed away, he'd want to go home? I was like, yep, and nobody could tell him nothing. So we're having a full-blown argument in the car park around with all the players there, and I'm still in my kit. So I was like, look, you're really starting to ag me now. I'm just going to go. So I just walked and I said, I'm going home. So my agent called me, he's like, I know it's hard for you, but can you stay until Saturday evening? And they've said you can fly home Saturday evening. So I'm like, okay. I played every minute up until then. They dropped me for the game. So I could have gone home on the Thursday when we had this argument. So then I've had complete head loss. I was supposed to fly back on the Wednesday. So on a Tuesday I get a message from Marco Grujic, who plays for Liverpool now. And he's on loan at Hertha Berlin. Saying, where are you, bro? And I'm like, I'm at home with like my family. Obviously, you know what happened with my nan. He's like, there's a thing in the papers saying that you've gone missing and that you've just like upped and left. And I was like, they booked my flight. Like, and I know how it works out there. Like the big teams tend to run the papers. Like it's that powerful. And I was like thinking, they're going to come and defend me. Nothing. Like they just haven't said anything. So I'm getting hammered like on social media. Like I'm getting like death threats. I'm sure someone's going to come out like a spokesperson and say, no, we've said Josh can go home. Yeah, I did. Nothing. So I come back and just like everyone's just ignoring me, like just blanking me. And I'm thinking, this is strange. So then they basically say to me, you're not playing. Just go and train on your own. I'm not having this. So I ended up going on loan to Aberdeen. Went on loan to Aberdeen. Didn't really work out. I still had 3 years left on my contract. So I went back and I said, you don't want me here. I don't want to be here because of what happened with the situation. I think it's gone past the point of like redeeming or making up the situation. Can we talk about a pay up? And they were like, no, we won't pay you up. We'll just make you suffer. So I was like, all right, whatever. So then I landed back in Belgrade on January the 10th. And what they did was they booked my flight home, but they booked it for the day after that they left for pre-season. So then I've got there, going to training, no one's there. I'm like, what's going on? So I messaged them, and they're like, they've left for pre-season, you're staying here and training alone. I'm like, okay. So then some random guy turns up and he's like, you're going to train with me. So for the next 2 weeks I trained with him on my own. And then they came back and they were like, you'll continue to train on your own. So what they would do was, out there we train the same time as the games. So if the game was at like 7:00 in the evening, that's what time we'd train. So for the next 3 months, I just trained on my own, no coach, no balls, they wouldn't give me nothing. They'd be down on one pitch, because the pitches were elevated, one's sunken and one's high up. They'd say, you go and run up on that one, but they wouldn't turn on the floodlights. I wasn't allowed any balls, no equipment, and they'd go and train. So I just run around the pitch one day, and they stopped paying me by this point, so I got nowhere to stay. So I'm running around the pitch, and then the next day I'd go in the gym. But I have to turn up, otherwise they can terminate my contract and say I'm not applying myself like a professional. So I started to go through a bit of depression and anxiety, and obviously I've got my son's now 2, but I'm not with his mum anymore. I've got my son, who I want to obviously see, who at the same time I'm going through this, I'm going through court to get custody of him I have 50% custody, but I've got no income. So then my new missus, who I'm with now, who I've got a little baby with, she was like, this isn't right, you need to do something. I can't do nothing, because if I walk away, I'm walking away to nothing. I'm going back to England and I've got not a penny to my name. But I need to kind of remain here and figure out what I'm going to do. So from January till March, running around, but then my missus started saying, you need to record this stuff and make evidence. I end up moving into the club hotel, which is like a 1950s old hotel, which literally has not a TV, no Wi-Fi. It's literally a single bed in a, I'd say 3 metre by 3 metre room. Like, that's all it is. And the players used to sleep there in between training back in the day. So I'm there with my suitcase. I'm just living out my suitcase day to day, but I haven't got no money. So then I start loaning money off my mum. And I'm like, when I get my money, I'll pay you back.
So you're basically staying there on the remit that the club were going to do the right thing eventually and pay you.
Yeah. Yes, I'm thinking like they can't do this forever, but in their eyes they're happy to do it forever. So then, funnily enough, Steve Brown from Wycombe, the old Wycombe player, he was my youth team coach, and we still remain in contact now. And my mum reached out to him and was like, I'm really worried about Josh, like he's all drained, like he's not eating properly, he hasn't got any money, and my mum's not in a position to give me any money. She's like taking out loans, like, and sending me monies just so I can see Cairo, who's my son, because she knows I'll go over the edge if I don't see him. So then he calls me, he's like, what's going on, pal? And I was like, I don't even know where to start. I said, like, I feel like I'm being broken, but in my head I'm telling myself I'm too strong to be broken, because as men we're like ego based, so we're like, right, we can deal with whatever, we deal with whatever within inside us, but they're crushing me and they know what they're doing, because they know if they don't pay me I can't afford to do anything, and then I'm going to have to leave. I remember the director who I had the fallout with pulled me one day and he was like, if you want to leave, you can leave now and we'll pay you up to date. But I'm thinking, I've got bills that I haven't been paying, that's going to go, so I'm still going home to nothing, and I've got 3 years left of my contract. Some people might say it's stupid, why didn't you just leave? But I didn't give myself that contract. They gave me that contract based on what they thought I was capable of, so it didn't feel right with me. And he was just like battering me, so I started to be a bit smart with it. I started recording myself like running around the pitch. I started recording myself in the gym saying, like, as you can see, the team's down there, I'm up here on my own, they won't let me train, they won't let me have a ball. They're stopping me from essentially being a football player. I remember one day the secretary, who's a man, came in and said, we're allowed to train today. This is strange. So I went down to the pitch, and it's still to this day the most embarrassing moment of my life. So I'm stood there, and we're in a huddle and the manager's talking, and he comes down, walks all the way down, and everyone's watching him come down these big steps, and he walks over to the huddle and he's like, Josh, what are you doing down here? So awkward, it's just silent. When I think back, there's big players that were in that huddle that have gone on to do amazing things, and they didn't even have power to say anything. You got Marco, who now plays for Liverpool. You got a guy called Mihailo Ristic, who's at Montpellier. You got Luka Jovic, who's at Madrid, and they just sat there like mute because they've seen it before. And he's like, no, you're not training, go up there. So I'm just so embarrassed. I take a ball and he's like, you can leave the ball. Yeah, I go through that, and then obviously I speak to Brownie, and Brownie's like, I'm going to put you in contact with someone from the PFA. Speak to the guy from the PFA, and he's like, we don't have no jurisdiction there, we don't have no power, no one can say nothing to Serbia because they have their own laws there. Even though they're in Europe, they're not. I know the head of the players union out there, so I start speaking to this guy, and he's asking questions, and he's like, yeah, it sounds like you've got a case, but we have to be very careful, because if you make a mistake then you're held liable. So I'm like, cool, whatever. So he sends them a letter. He says, if you don't let Josh train and you don't pay him, then we're going to take you to FIFA. So they let me train. Basically, they let me do the warm-up, and then they're like, we've got too many numbers, you can... That's how it was. But I was like, I'm just happy that the players are allowed to talk to me now, because they wasn't talking to me. Even though they talked to me outside of football, but at the training ground, they was not allowed to be seen talking to me.
What were they saying to you outside? They must have sympathised with what was going on.
Yeah. So I was really close with Luka, Marco, and Mihailo Ristic. So I'd see them occasionally outside of football, but they didn't want to get in trouble from the club if they were seen out and about with me, because there, I couldn't walk down the street without anyone knowing who I was. So I'd get in a taxi and they'd be like, Parker, our taxi's free. You go to a restaurant, Parker, food's free. That's how it was. Like, so they're all asking me like, why are you not playing this and that? And then the boys at the club are saying, they do this, like they try and force people out, or if they don't want to pay you or you're getting a move, any money that they owe you, they'll be like, because we've got you a move, we shouldn't have to pay you the money back because your life's better now. That's how it is. So like, say they owed so-and-so 100 grand, they'd be like, oh, you've just gone for 5 million. You don't need this 100 grand. Like, help your club. Like, this is your club. Like, because there's like a religion, Red Star. It's not, oh, I support this football team. It's their kill for Red Star. They love Red Star more than their children. I was going through that, and then he was like, send me all your contract, your bank statements. We're going to kind of mount a case for you. A new manager came in, and this is when they went on like I think it was like a 50-game unbeaten run. They won like every game. Said like he really likes me and he wants me to play. But he said the people upstairs won't allow me to play. But while he was saying this, I had my phone in my boot, in my football boot. So I've gone and knocked on his door and said, can I speak to you for a minute? He's like, yeah, of course, come in, Parker, come in. I just want to know why I'm not allowed to train. Look, between me and you, it's not me saying it. The people upstairs have told me you're not allowed to train and you're not allowed to play. And if you do, then I'll get in trouble. But I've got my phone on record. So then I start recording everything. So then I have a meeting with the director. I'm in there for 2 hours. My phone's just on record. If you stay here, I can make your life very difficult. You could get hurt. Da, 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 da. He's just talking all crazy stuff. And he's like, 2 clubs have come in for you, and you'd be stupid to turn down the clubs. So it was Rubin Kazan and a team called Kairat, which is in Kazakhstan. And we played them in the Champions League qualifiers. He was like, they've offered you an amazing contract. You can either go there for 6 months on loan, or they offer you a 2-year contract. It sounds amazing, but I'm not going anywhere unless I know my ex-partner will allow my son to come, because I can make money, but I can't make up time with my kids. So I spoke to her, she wasn't having it. So I was like, I'm not going. He was like, you're stupid. Started going crazy in the office. If I had to be away from my kids for a year for this money, then I would. And I was like, we're different people. That's your opinion. I'm trying to stay calm because I know like I'm recording. And he's just like saying, like just making threats like that I can go missing and all this stuff. And then this guy from the Serbian Players Union comes back to, yeah, we've got a case. We just need to be smart when we approach them. The club say to me, the manager likes you, we're gonna let you go on pre-season. But the only way you can go on pre-season and get involved in the games is if you sign this agreement to say that the 4 months money that we owe you, we don't have to pay you till August. We're now in July. So by the time you pay that money in August, you're gonna owe me another 3 months salary. So then it don't make sense. So I'm not signing. When I was on pre-season in Slovenia with them, they just literally made me train on my own again. But luckily, my mum and my fiance now and my son flew out for the week, so it made life a bit easier. They stayed in a hotel next to my one, so I'd train and I'd go and spend a day with them, which kind of gave me that peace of mind. While I'm there, the guy from the PFA there basically sent them a letter and said, if you don't pay Josh within 2 weeks of this date, then we'll take you to FIFA. 2 weeks passes. And we've just got back from pre-season. Like we drove back and we got there on like a Thursday. On the Friday, I'm messaging this guy, okay, let's terminate the contract and go to FIFA. He ignores me for like all day, and I can see him reading my messages. And I messaged the lawyer who like I've had contact with as well, the Serbian. They're ignoring me. I'm calling them, thinking this is weird because every day they've been chasing me. So then I get a message from the financial guy at the club saying, we paid the money into your fund, into your account. So I'm thinking, most people would be like, yeah. But I'm thinking, now they can do this for another 4 months again, and I have to go through all this again. So I'm like, and I'm panicking. So I called Dexter Blackstock. Do you know any like lawyers or anything? He was like, yeah, I'll put you in contact. So he put me in contact with a lawyer, and he was like, it's your contract. You don't have to wait for someone to terminate it for you. Like, it's your name on it. It's not the lawyer's name on it. They've stitched me up. Like, the lawyers stitched me up because they've gone missing, and then all of a sudden they're saying they paid me. So the English lawyer was like, call the bank and see if the money's in there. Call the bank. Hi, has any money been deposited into my account? No. And then I've got the lawyer on my other phone, and he said, well, if they're Serbian and they've transferred to Serbia, then the money would be immediate. Write an email now while I'm on the phone and terminate the contract. So I terminate the contract, write an email, and obviously I'm staying at a hotel, so I can walk over the road and give them a handwritten copy. So I do that as well. I get a message within 15 minutes. We don't accept your termination, And I'm thinking, I don't know nothing about football law, so I'm like, do they have to accept it? Or so the lawyer's like, it's not down to them or for you to decide whether it's terminated. FIFA will decide. You've said it's terminated. Whether they accept it or not is a different thing. So then I remember I had to come back on the Tuesday. So obviously we got back on Thursday from Slovenia. On the Tuesday I had to fly back for court for my son. So I fly back and I literally messaged them saying, I stand by my termination. FIFA said it's not for you to accept or like dictate. I won't be returning. But it's where I effed myself up. I let them book the flight because I was worried that if they knew I wasn't coming back, something might happen. So I end up not coming back, and then I get a letter from them saying, "Oh, we're trying to sue you," basically. Like a newspaper guy called me and said, "Oh, have you heard that Red Star are going to sue you?" I'm like, one, who are you? And two, no, I haven't heard it, but I don't know how they could sue me. So I get a massive stack, like maybe 150 pages through from FIFA saying, Red Star are trying to sue you for €3 million. I don't know like what lifestyle they think I'm living, but I ain't got no €3 million sitting around. So then obviously now I have to get a lawyer in place, and I used the one that helped me on the phone. I ended up winning the case. Usually when you win a case, you get the entirety of your contract, but because I let them book my flight, I was still essentially using my contract. So FIFA were like, "You were silly to do that, but we understand why you did, but we can't reward you for that." But what they did is they basically gave me compensation for the way they mistreated me and the emotional damages that they caused to me. But I didn't get that money till January this year. And they got fined €20,000, and the next thing, if they didn't pay me after they got that fine, was that they get dropped into the bottom league of Serbia. But it was funny, when they said they paid me after I terminated my contract, they basically went to the Serbian government and got them to pay me, put money in my account after I terminated it. So even though I could have booked the flight myself, I didn't want to touch the money because I thought that's me accepting it, and then obviously I can just sit and rot for the next 3 years. But then after I left there, they wouldn't hand my transfer certificates over. So from June until February, I signed at Gillingham. I didn't have a club, no income, so that's when I started working with my godfather at his coffee shop in London, which is the coffee shop now that we run together in Wycombe.
You said that during the time you said, "I can't be broken."
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds absolutely horrendous. It's over a long period of time. Where did you find that strength?
I think when I look back, they did break me, but because people were telling me not to walk away, I just kind of put up with it. Because when I look at myself now and I look at pictures from that space in time, I don't recognize myself. But I didn't know I looked like that. Like I was like literally gaunt, dark circles everywhere, like on my eyes, skin bad, skinny, like. But I didn't realize it until my missus showed me it, probably not even that long ago, probably 6 months ago. She's like, "When you went on loan to Aberdeen, look at how you looked like. I've never seen you. You don't look. I don't know who that is." But I didn't realize it at the time because I'm trying to like smile and put on like happy faces if they're not bothering me. But it is bothering me, like the fact that I'm mounting up £1,000 worth of debt, like 'cause I can't pay my bills here, I can't fly my son out, but my mum's paying for it and this and that. I'm just having to go in every day and do the same routine. That's the bit that was killing me, the fact that I'm there on my own in a foreign country, and my routine was literally wake up, walk to a shop near, I'd have 2 chocolate croissants and an orange juice, go back to the hotel, sit there for a little bit, and I'm racking up bills on my phone because obviously I'm messaging England. I'm just like trying to speak to someone just to have conversation with, because the boys aren't allowed to hang out with me anymore. I'd go to the training ground and then run around the pitch for 15 minutes, and I started to be like, what's the point in me running around? And I was trying to convince myself, I'll do it for yourself, but I know nothing. I can't go on loan again. I know they can continue to do this until someone helps me, or they can do it forever if no one helps me. So I was just doing that every day, and I was just mentally drained, like, because I'm in this little team hotel on my own, so it's not even like I'd speak to anyone there. It's just me.
Where did the strength come from?
I don't even know. I don't know. But when I look back at it now, I don't think any situation I could go through in life would be harder than that one. So now when things happen or you have your life struggles, like I'm kind of like, that's light, that's easy.
You're sat here now at Wycombe Wanderers in a great squad, happy. You've got yourself in the team after a slow start. When you look back at challenges now, that must put not just football in perspective, but life in perspective.
100%. When you just asked what got me through, I can't answer it because I think it's something that's naturally within you. So like my characteristics got me through. The fact that I'm so stubborn and I'm so like headstrong, that's probably what got me through. And I don't realize it at the time, but you can't choose your characteristics. They just build with you and grow with you. So yeah, I think that's what got me through. But it wasn't pretty. It wasn't nice at all. I'm not even gonna lie. It was difficult. It was very difficult.
So back into football, into Gillingham, back into the UK. Describe that moment when you scored that first goal for Gillingham.
Oh, like I remember I came on for like maybe, 15, 20 minutes and I scored the equaliser. And someone reminded me at the end of that season that basically that goal kept Gillingham up, because Port Vale and us were the two teams battling for the to stay up. And if they would have won that game 1-0, somehow they would have had more goals or something than us. So that goal basically kept them up. So when I look back, I was like, ooh, that's how you know, like, the universe always comes good when you're a good person. Also, we all make mistakes, but yeah, that was just a relief. Because the crazy thing is, when I first came back from Red Star, I thought, I'm going to have to walk straight into another team or try and get into another team. I didn't realise that they would keep my transfer papers and wouldn't let me. But I went literally within 5 days of being back. I went and played a behind closed doors game against Leighton Orient for Gillingham, and I scored 2 goals. I got 2 assists. We won the game like 5-3. And I thought, I'm going to sign here. They were like, no, we don't want you. And I was like, I'm back to the politics of English football. I literally am. And
surely that must have been the politics of English football. After everything you went through, must have been like, well, that's almost an irrelevance.
Yeah, literally. And it's funny because I always say this. I played that game for Gillingham, and then I went and trained at Charlton for like 3 weeks, maybe longer, 4 weeks maybe. It was a long time, so I got comfortable with like everyone was there. Fast forward 18 months, fast forward till February, I sign at Gillingham, then I go from Gillingham to Charlton. So that's too quirky to be like a mistake or anything other than fate.
You said that you've achieved everything in the game that you would have wanted to as a kid, and that includes that horrific spell.
Yep.
You're still a young man. I mean, there's a lot left of you as a footballer.
I say this all the time because when I actually break it down, I've had probably 3 years out of football, so I missed like a big chunk of football, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years. So I always think, what could I have done with that time? But then I'm like, it's happened. You just kind of move on and get on with it. But I still think like I haven't hit my true form. But that's why when I signed it, I said to the gaffer, for the first time since I was 21, I'm playing football with no outside interference. So that's why I'm so keen to get a run of games, because I can see what I can do without having court issues to do with my son, not getting paid by Red Star, not having a club. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still very eager just to have a run of games, because I know what I'm capable of. I wouldn't have played at a team like Red Star if I wasn't capable of very, very good things. But I just need now to kind of cement myself in the team, which is difficult. It's difficult here because obviously where there's no reserve team and stuff like that, it's hard to build up your fitness. So when you're chucked in, you're like dying. But that's down to you as a professional to kind of put yourself in the best position possible. A lot of players talk about when they're a kid, they imagine their things, and you've said you've already achieved that. So is this almost like a rebirth as a footballer now? Do you now set yourself, right, what am I going to tell myself in 5 years' time? It's weird because I think it's natural as a human to kind of try and preempt or like plan, like what's the next step, and I still do it now. But then when I think about it, I'm really like, maybe I just kind of go with it, and whatever comes to me, because Wycombe was the first ever professional environment that I played for, and now I went through all of that stuff in the middle part, and now I'm back here. Do you know what I mean? At the end of it. So I've achieved everything that I would have wanted to as a kid, and now I'm back where it kind of started. It's strange. It's a strange circumstance of events. It really is very strange. It's such a large part of your life, such a horrific set of events. Are you over it, or will you ever get over it, or does it drive you, or is there resentment or anger still there? It's a good question, because I ask myself this all the time. I don't think I'm ever over it, because it's one of them ones where people can ask you a question, you can answer it, but unless you're going through it, you never really understand. Everyone always thinks their situation is the worst because we're the ones being put through it. But I always said I don't think this sounds egotistical, but I don't think anyone would have chose to go through it, because everything is a choice. I had a choice to walk away, or I had a choice not to, and I chose not to. But I think most people I know would have walked away, because even when I was there, it was coming towards me kind of make a decision, I'm going to fly home and leave. They did it to 5 other players for the space of 3 weeks. All of them left and took a pay up, like, to that date in time. I've been here 6 months, like, just chilling on my own, and you lot got to train together. Like, they just put all of us together, and then I was even allowed to train with them 5 after that. I put myself through a lot, but I like to think that it was all for a reason.
Last Tuesday, Wycombe were in action under the lights at Adams Park against Joey Barton's Fleetwood Town. Not a great night for the Chairboys. Here's what happened.
Fleetwood on the attack now with a crossfield pass towards Evans. McCarthy gets up holding his face, and then what's the ref going to do here? It's a red card! A red card for Ched Evans. He went up with McCarthy. Referee seemed to have a good sight line on it. McCarthy went down clutching his face, and the referee has sent off Ched Evans. Straight red card. McCarthy went down clutching his face immediately. The referee sort of strolled towards it, fished around in his pocket and produced a red. Back outside now to Mackay. Mackay drills it in low. That's a great ball, and Madden is onside, and that is a goal. No one's touched it. Is Madden going to claim it, or is Mackay going to take it from the ball in? Either way, Alsop didn't know what to do, didn't know what to go with the runner or follow the flight of the ball. In the end, it's just crawled into the bottom corner, and it's 1-0 to Fleetwood. It's getting very, very tight at the top of the table. Wycombe down to 4th, but it's very concertinaed.
Oh my God, catastrophe! We're in 4th place. It is absolutely fantastic to be amongst the names we're amongst. I'm loving upsetting these big teams and people fearing us the way they do. We're getting plenty of respect now from the whole division. And as we say, with the 2 weeks coming in, this club's only going to get better and better. We've got some great opportunity this season to achieve, but I know what's coming in the years following this. You know, we're going to get stronger and stronger as a club, and I'm excited for that. So please don't be down.
Just another win for us. I mean, I'm disappointed that we haven't beat them 4 or 5, because that was how far ahead of them we were. You know, we've played them a couple of times. We managed to salvage a point with 10 men in the home game. That was due to injury rather than a refereeing decision. So look, we were backs to the wall after being so dominant in the game, hitting the bar 3 times, number of opportunities spent. Then you see your centre forward get sent off and you think, oh, it's going to be one of these nights. Especially when you see some of the decisions that are being made by the officiating team. And then, you know, the lads just come through for each other, and again, that's not down to coaching or anything like that. That's just down to a determination not to lose a game of football.
Well, it was a long midweek trip for the COD Army fans. The few that made it had their say after the game. Nicola Groves.
Well done, Fleetwood, especially Paddy Madden. How that wasn't 5-0, I don't know. One of our best games in a long time.
David Burns, 62.
That, to a man, was a team playing for their Fleetwood Town shirts. 1-0 absolutely flattered Wycombe. I actually lost count of how many we could have scored. And hats off to our fans, who were a credit to the club tonight.
Melanie Burns.
What a massive win that was. So proud of them all. 10 men and 99 minutes.
Chris Smith's 199.
Brilliant battling performance. Evans' moment of madness aside, it was a great effort from all on the pitch. Not sure where 7 extra minutes came from, or why it went to 9, or why Bolton was sent off for doing something that all managers do.
Dave Summers.
We deserved that win. It was the best we've played for a while.
Mark Rooney.
Watching Fleetwood take 3 points off Wycombe makes the long journey back a lot sweeter. We were louder than them, hit the bar 3 times, and had a one-on-one with their keeper.
Football Mad 21.
Heart in mouth at times, but the boys were brilliant tonight. Great atmosphere from the travelling COD Army, and boy, what a game. I'm absolutely buzzing.
Right, that's your lot for this week. Many thanks to Josh Parker for sharing his story, Vital Len and you for tuning in. We'll be back next week as Wycombe take on Tranmere. Again, come on you Blues.